Hi everyone and welcome. Let me just adjust. Okay, great. So I'm really happy to be here again and talking with you guys about healing. And today I'm going to talk about harmony in relationships. Like all of us, we like every aspect of our life is a relationship. Whether it is your relationship with yourself or relationship with someone else, or it is relationship with even inanimate things, or everything is a relationship. And when we have harmony in our relationship, it creates ease in our life. And when we have disharmony in our relationship, it actually creates a lot of angst in our life. Let me know, what you would like to know. What relationship is bothering you? What do you want to know about your relationship? Let me know in the comments below. And I actually want to start talking about your primary relationship. So like your primary relationship is a relationship with yourself, okay? It is definitely a relationship with yourself. And when you are in harmony in your relationship with yourself, only then you can have harmony in all the relationships around you, okay? So, like always, hi Minas, good to have you live. Like always, I always like to, um, in whatever conversation I have, I like to do energetic releases. And today also, I'm actually looking forward to doing energetic releases. So if you would like to post in the comments below something that is bothering you, and today the whole conversation is relationships, I'm happy to facilitate you on that, okay? So let us first look at our relationship with ourselves. And the first thing that we look at is, self-worth and self-esteem. So do you, do you value yourself? Do you have worth for yourself? Or do you you don't have worth for yourself? That is the first thing that you want to look at, okay? So for most of us, we go through life with this thing of I'm not good enough, okay? I'm not good enough is the default from which we function. And this default, it actually comes from our childhood. It comes from our primary interactions, and these primary interactions are coming from our parents, okay? So today we are actually going to look at our relationship with our parents, and also we how that is actually impacting our life, okay? So let's look at the first relationship, your relationship with your mother, okay? So all the incompletions you have with your mother, let's release on that. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Nilofer Safdar, and the hi Gianluca, good to have you live. So my main tool with which I work with people is something called as energetic releases. And in energetic releases, basically what I do is I call upon the energy of the limitation or the pattern or anything like that, and then I do energetic release on this. So let's look at our mothers first, okay? So all the incompletions we have with our mother, let's release on that. Hi, Anya. So the incompletion, it encompasses a whole bunch of things, you know. So all the energetic charges, you know, in all the different interactions that you have with your mother, you are kind of releasing all that. And then we are going to look more deeper into that. And then all the incompletions you have with your father, let's release on that. Now, again, you know, look at your mother. And when you think about your mother, what are some of the things that come up for you? And if you would like to type in the comments what are some of the things that are coming up for you, I can do some releases on that. Because, you know, in a lot of modalities, completing with your parents is one of the major things in which you can get free, or you know, your relationships can totally transform once your relationship with your parents is complete. Okay, so everything that comes up for you when you think about your mother, let's release on that. Wow, I feel like taking a deep breath. So, you know, just take a deep breath and relax. If you have water handy, please drink water because this releases a lot of stuff for you. Hi, Mariella, good to have you live with us. And everything, now think about your father and everything that comes up for you when you think about your father. Let's release on that. So, you know, our primary relationships are our relationships with our mother and our father. And then all the other relationships that we have in life are actually reflections of our relationship with our mother or our father. And what I mean by that is that you will either duplicate the relationship that you have with your mother or your father, or you will create an opposite relationship with what you have with your mother or your father. So every relationship, if you actually like really scrutinize it in depth, you will find that it is either of these two. Like it's either duplicating that relationship or it's totally you know, opposing that. Okay, so now let's look at our own self. What is your relationship with yourself? And the first thing I will ask you is, do you judge yourself? Okay, so how many of you judge yourself? Let me know. I'm sure none of you do, right? So all the judgment that you have for yourself, let's release on that. And then do you make yourself wrong? Okay, so everywhere you make yourself wrong, let's release on that. And then you know, do you doubt yourself? Like You might have an awareness about something and you'll go, no, 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 I don't think so. I must have imagined it. It cannot be true. That's doubting yourself. So everywhere you doubt yourself, let's release on that. And then the next one is like, it's the intensity is higher, it's like judgment, but with a higher intensity is where you criticize yourself. Okay, so let's release on self-criticism. Okay, and then the next one is going even one step further, is like, when you really are blaming yourself, you're making yourself wrong, you're really criticizing yourself, then you also go sometimes into this mode of self-punishment. And the way self-punishment shows up in your life is, you will either create some kind of physical condition in your body with which you punish yourself, or you might create that thing to be reflected in your relationship. So you will have someone, who will abuse you, who will, be angry at you, or things like that. Okay, so everywhere you are punishing yourself and beating yourself up. Let's release on that. And take a breath, drink some water. Okay, now if anyone would like to share what's showing up for you, let me know in the comments below, how are you feeling with all these releases that we did. Now the thing with judgment and criticism and making yourself wrong, we do it, it's like our default. So no matter what happens, you go into a default with that, right? And so what happens is that it is very, very safe and familiar with you. So punishing yourself and making yourself wrong and judging yourself and even doubting yourself is safe and familiar. Okay? So the opposite of that, when you choose to love yourself, when you choose to be in allowance of yourself, when you choose to forgive yourself, and when you choose to have more self-worth and self-esteem, it means that it is unsafe and unfamiliar with you, because that is not something that you choose. Okay, so that is going out of your comfort zone. So I'm going to do one release, which will kind of handle these two aspects of it. Okay, so remaining in self-doubt, self-judgment, making yourself wrong, self-criticism, punishing yourself and beating yourself up is safe and familiar. Let's release on that. And then remaining in self-confidence, self-worth, self-esteem, loving yourself, forgiving yourself, is unsafe and unfamiliar. Let's release on that. And now take a breath. So literally this particular release that I did, it switches you from having that default of wrongness and self-judgment to a default of self-love and self-confidence. Okay, so we are switching that thing with it. Okay. So Mariella says, have problems in my relationships makes me feel disturbed in my stomach. So what I would like you to do is, I'd like you to now bring to your awareness one relationship, any one relationship that you have that is actually bothering you. Okay, so where you have the disharmony in the relationship, bring to your awareness any one of those relationships. And now, everything within you and outside of you that keeps that disharmony in that relationship in place, let's release on that. And take a breath. And now think about that relationship again. And do you notice any change now in that relationship? Or, do you notice any change when you think about that relationship? Because, if we have disharmony in a relationship, we have an emotional charge around it. And that emotional charge is kind of it's always there. The moment you think about that person, that emotional charge will be there. And so after doing a release, just check if that emotional charge is the same or has it shifted. Okay, so once again, think about that relationship and everything that comes up for you when you think about that relationship. Let's release on that. Okay, and take a nice deep breath. How do you feel now when you think about that relationship? Is it the same? Has something shifted for you? The thing with relationship is that we carry so much emotional baggage. So, you are not present in the moment with that person, but you actually are carrying all that emotional baggage, all those different interactions you have had with that person. So, all that emotional baggage kind of comes up for you. And so everything within you and outside of you that doesn't allow you to be present in the moment. Let's release on that. Hi Gaetano, I'm so happy that you are joining me here today. So Anya says, I don't have a relationship for many years because men liked me only for sex, not for a partnership. Everything that comes up for you with that, let's release on that. So, Anya, now when you think about not having a relationship, what comes up for you? Do you still have that point of view that men only want me for sex and not for partnership? So, Mariella, I don't punish myself. I choose not to be involved with people who make me feel good. I guess you mean who don't make me feel good. Yes, that's absolutely true. Yes, exactly. It's people who make me feel bad or sad or sorry. Okay. So you mentioned earlier about, uh, you feel it in your stomach when you have problems in relationship. So when I did the clearing, did that change for you? Okay, so like I said, most of the time we are just not present with the person. We are, reacting to something that they did in the past, or, we are worrying about the future. So we are literally not present in the moment. Okay, so everything within you and outside of you that doesn't allow you to be present in this moment, let's release on that. Okay, all right. So now think about any other person that you are in relationship with, and by this I don't really mean just your romantic relationships. It could also be relationships with your colleagues, or relationships with your clients, or any kind of business relationship as well. So think about another relationship that is bothering you. It could also be relationships with your friend and family. I can't imagine to have ease in relationship. I don't feel interesting for others. Sorry, Anya, what do you mean by I don't feel interesting for others? Do you mean that others don't find me interesting, or I don't find others interesting? Okay, so everything within you and outside of you that doesn't allow you to have ease in your relationships, let's release on that. So recently, I did this series called Five Elements Transformation, and the five elements according to Chinese, according to the Wu Jing, okay, the Chinese Wu Jing, which talks about the five elements. And in that, one of the things that we looked at was the five elements and physical spaces. So in the physical spaces, there is actually a space which is responsible for romance, for marriage and partnership and all of that. Okay. And there was one person, I asked them to actually look at their home and locate that area in their home. And what she did was that she said that that area falls in my toilet. And like literally she said that I can literally see that my romantic relationships are going down the drain. Okay. And even so what that sets up for you is that you are setting up an opposition to relationships. So not only are you not receiving a relationship, but you're actively fighting against a relationship. So Anya, is that what is going on with you? So everywhere that you are fighting having a romantic relationship or a partnership, let's release on that. Okay, so Gaetano says, does your healing work for everyone who is connected right now? Yes, so everyone who is connected now and everyone who also listens to the replay, when you are listening, it's almost like, the similar kind of issues that you have, you will connect with that, and all of that starts getting healed for you. Like when I do the energetic release, it kind of starts getting healed for you. I overextend myself for others, and I'm always a giver in every relationship. Okay, fantastic. So everywhere that you are overextending yourself, let's release on that. This thing about overextending yourself and giving more, and giving so much that you start feeling drained. I think this is like a big thing with a lot of people. I noticed this for myself, and it wasn't really a doing piece. um, it's more about having a pattern within you which causes you to overextend. So all the patterns within you, all the programs within you that cause you to overextend with people, let's release on that. Thank you for saying that, Gaetano. And yes, I'm going to be live every Monday in Bridges of Light. Next time, I'm going to talk about weight loss. So all of you who would like to, change your weight using just these energetic releases, please come next time. Okay? But till then, let's talk about relationships. So everywhere you are prone to overextending yourself, let's release on that. Now, the thing with overextending yourself is to catch yourself when you are doing it, okay? And sometimes you can't really catch yourself overextending before, but then you will realize later that, okay, I overextended myself there. So when you actually notice it later, that's when, you know, you let go of all the emotional charge associated with that, okay? Let's see. Hi Naz, good to have you here. Yes, exactly. You don't have to be friendly 100%, and you don't have to give more than you receive. So everything within you and outside of you that uh, doesn't allow you to give exactly what is required and not more than that, let's release on that. So, in a relationship, you know, when you have disharmony, more often than not, there are patterns of disharmony in place, okay? So, all the patterns of disharmony that you have in your relationships, let's release on that. And just like you have patterns of disharmony in relationships, in the same way, you also have patterns of harmony in relationships. So, everything within you and outside of you that doesn't allow you to have patterns of harmony in your relationships, let's release on that. So again, you know, having upset and having disharmony, all this, having all this in relationships, it's part of being in your comfort zone. It's kind of safe and familiar for us, and that's why we keep creating and recreating it, right? Hi, Brady. Good to have you live. So then the opposite of that, which is having patterns of harmony and having ease and joy and balance in relationship is not safe and not familiar. So I'm going to do a quick release on that. Remaining in patterns of disharmony, remaining in angst and upset and trauma and drama in relationships is safe and familiar. And then remaining in patterns of harmony and remaining in ease and joy and flow uh, uh, and love in your relationships is unsafe and unfamiliar. Yes, absolutely. You have to, the primary pattern you have is your pattern with yourself. So you always begin with, your relationship with yourself. And then you actually look at your relationship with your parents. You heal your relationship with your mother, you heal your relationship with your father, and these three relationships actually form the foundation and the basis of all the other relationships that you have in your life. So in the beginning, I did a lot of releases around these three things itself. So I have sensation in right side of head and stomach pain. So I don't know what that is about. Shahida, you have to tell me. I mean, we are talking about relationships here. So this is not really to do with physical things. It's more to do with relationships. So again, talking in terms of disharmony in relationships, one of the other thing that occurs is that when you actually judge, uh, you know, the person that you are in relationship with, that's when, when you start to have a lot of disharmony show up, or when that other person starts judging you, that's when the disharmony starts to show up. Okay, so all the judgments that you have about your relationships, let's release on that. And then all the judgments that are directed at you, let's release on that as well. So, Aminaz, let's do a release on that. Everything within you and outside of you that blocks you from loving yourself. Let's release on that. I love that, Mariella. Loving myself is my personal medicine. Yeah, like literally for everything, if you first go to self love, then everything becomes easy, everything becomes open. So, Minas, how is it for you now? This thing of loving yourself and everything within you and outside of you that stops you from forgiving yourself. Yes, exactly. When I'm at peace with myself, I'm at peace with the world, and you also start attracting all those beautiful things. Okay, so What else keeps the disharmony in place? So all the upset, all the trauma and drama that you have, let's release on that. The other thing is that are you actually willing to receive? Are you willing to receive the harmony? So everything within you and outside of you that stops you from receiving, let's release on that. And everything within you and outside of you that stops you from coming back to balance, let's also release on that. So when you are actually looking at a relationship and you find that there is disharmony in that relationship, the first thing that I would ask you to do is, you know, write down what is bothering you about that relationship. Because a lot of times, not having that clarity of what is bothering us will will be like that little tiny piece of sand in our shoes, right? So just write down whatever is bothering you in that relationship. And I wouldn't really say that spend a lot of time doing that, but kind of do it like a journaling exercise. And you can just, you know, write down, I'm upset about this relationship because, and whatever comes up, just really quickly write it down. Don't overthink it. Don't, you know, sit and really try and figure it out. Just write it down. And sometimes, you know, when you write down things, it might feel a little bizarre to you. It might feel a little strange to read some of those things that you have written down, but actually all those things that you've written down, I would look at it like a treasure, because those are the things which are deep down in your subconscious, in your unconscious mind, and those are the things that are actually creating all that angst and disharmony in the relationship. Those are actually the projections that you have from the relationship, the expectations that you have, the judgments that you have about the relationship, okay? And all these kind of have an emotional charge to it. So if you take each one of those and you release those things, then what happens is that all the emotional charge goes away. And when the emotional charge goes away, your experience of that whole relationship also changes. So have you noticed many times that, you know, you will do some work on yourself, and then you'll say, you know, the person that I'm in relationship has changed, you know, or my boss has changed. I've worked on myself and my boss is different, or I worked on myself and my partner is different, something like that, okay? So everything within you and outside of you that keeps all these judgments in place. Let's release on that. So take a deep breath, drink some water. So let's look at your relationship with your family and everything that comes up for you with that. Let's release on that. And you might say that, okay, you know what, my relationship with my family is quite okay, there's no issues there. But what happens is that, you know, when you think about your family, you will have some judgments or something kind of come up, right? And this is like a default. It just pops up the moment you think about that person. You will have all your points of views, your judgments, your expectations, everything just come up, you know. And so when we do the energetic release, we are releasing on all those things. Like Mariella says that, you know, when we live without expectations, the results will be more positive and propositive. I don't really know what that means. Can we resist disharmony? Sabina, I'm not sure what you are asking. Can you write more about this? See, when you actually resist something, you create more of that. Okay? So resisting something is not always your best option. Okay? But you can but you can actually like release the disharmony. Okay, I think maybe it's a languaging thing. Okay, so so all the disharmony that you have in relationships, let's release on that. Yes, you know, having expectations, it makes you anxious and nervous. And also when people have a lot of expectations from you, okay? So let's release on expectations. So all the expectations that you have, let's release on that. And all the expectations that people have from you, let's release on that as well. So when you release on other people's expectations, what happens is that you are no longer then affected by their expectations. So they can just have their expectations. It doesn't bother you anymore. It doesn't impact you anymore as well. Okay? So great insights, Mariella. Great insights. Thank you for sharing. Okay, right. So again, like I was saying, you know, when you think about a person, then all your everything that you have about that person just, you know, kind of shows up. And then when you do a release, then you are releasing on all your you know, points of views, your judgments, your expectations, your attachments, your rejections, your aversions to that person. Okay, so all the aversions and attachments that you have, let's release on that. So all these things, you know, attachments and aversions and expectations, all these become like sticking points. And these are the things that will stop you from having ease in your relationships. So the more that we release on all these things, the more ease that we will create. Okay, cool. Lowering a mind control, raising heart voice. Can we work on that? What do you mean by mind control related to what? Because there is so much mind control, like everything is mind control, literally. So, Ritu, who is the pain in your gallbladder? Tell me that. And then we can release on that person. So all the mind control connected with relationships, let's release on that. So who is the pain in your gallbladder? So who is the person stuck in your gallbladder? Naz, can you help release jealousy and envy in relationships, please? Okay, fantastic. So all the jealousy and envy in relationships that you have, let's release on that. So everywhere where you are a target of jealousy and envy, let's release on that as well. So, Gianluca, um, everything within you and outside of you that doesn't allow you to listen to your heart, let's release on that. Okay, fantastic. Thanks for the clarification, Gianluca. Okay, so um, okay, remaining with listening to your mind is safe and familiar. Let's release on that. And remaining with listening to your heart is unsafe and unfamiliar. Let's release on that. Thank you for bringing that up. That was really intense, like listening to the heart and listening to the mind. That was really good. Thank you so much. Hi, Samra. Good to have you, and thank you for all your comments. Um, Mariella, thank you for all your comments. Some really, to the point insights, like really everything is your relationship with yourself, and then the other two relationships I would say are your relationship with your parents. So if you kind of take care of these three primary relationships in your life, then everything else kind of gets handled. So I really want to thank everyone who was live today, and also thank everyone who is going to listen to the replay. Um, Relationships is always such a huge topic, and actually relationship is everything. Like everything in your life is actually connected to um, uh, to relationships. Like literally it's not just relationships with people, but also your relationship with inanimate objects, your relationships with concepts, like your relationship with your home, with your car, with your business, with your job. All these also, you can have patterns of harmony and patterns of disharmony with all these relationships as well. uh, next Next Monday, we are going to do one of my fun things that I like to do, and we are going to talk about weight loss. We're going to talk about weight loss from a perspective of three things basically. One is your relationship with food, your relationship with movement, and the third one is judgment of your body. So where the what I've found with weight loss is that if you change the judgment of your body, then everything can be changed. But then I'll talk more about that next week. I hope you guys will join me, and thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Bye, everyone, and have a wonderful evening or morning or day, whatever that may be for you. Bye. Next week, I'm not sure. I think it is the same time. I will post it in a little later. I'll check the time and post it a little later. Bye, everyone. Thank you.